Okay, hello, welcome back to another game of chess. We're playing e4 as per usual. Our opponent decides to respond with e5, so of course knight f3 here, putting pressure on that e-pawn, and then d4, the Scotch game. What I recommend to literally everyone, apart from, I guess, super grandmasters, although queen h4. This is, I believe, known as the Steinitz variation, named after Wilhelm Steinitz, who was the first official world champion, I think. Now, if I remember correctly, I mean, the point is they're threatening to take on e4 here. I think that my move is supposed to be knight c3, defending the pawn, and it's extremely natural as well. And then after they pin this, I'm fairly certain the best move is bishop e2, which is a super unobvious move. I mean, how is that possibly a move? They can just take here because the knight is absolutely pinned, which they do. But then, I looked at this maybe a month ago because I realized I didn't have a very good response to queen h4. And I'm fairly certain bishop e2 is the move, because I remember thinking how unobvious that is to prevent this being check. Now they're threatening to take the knight, but I think we play knight to b5. And the idea behind that is to threaten knight c7 check, which of course would fork the king and the rook. Kind of Blumenfeld-esque idea, so you know I'm all about that. The Blumenfeld variation of the Scotch being probably my favourite opening. And then after they take, I remember thinking, okay, so knight b5, because if takes, we can take back with the knight, natural stuff, the queen has to move, we're down a pawn, but up development, maybe we can bishop e3, queen e2, castle, queen side. I remember thinking that, in fact, you take with the pawn. This looks disgusting. I mean, I've just doubled and isolated. There were three perfectly beautiful pawns, one little pawn island, nice and connected, nice and, none of them were doubled anything. I now have an isolated a-pawn on a pawn island of its own, of course, it's isolated, and also two isolated pawns on c3 and c2. Why on earth would I do that? Well, supposedly, the idea is that you want to maintain this threat of knight to c7. Now, here, there's a move. There must be a move. Because I know what I've done so far is correct. Now, this is exactly the wrong thing to do. What I'm showing right now is that I've memorized a line and I don't actually understand it. That is a fault of mine, and I absolutely should understand this far better. I can only vow to do so in the future. However, for now, we're in this interesting position where I know for a fact that this is a good position for me, because I know that I've played the right moves, I know that I've played the theory. I don't know if queen e5 is a good idea. I have now, having been over-reliant on the map to get me here, I've just dropped it in a puddle, it's disintegrated, and I'm now left stranded in the middle of some place that I really don't understand. 1 second. Can I not just play pawn to f4? Thank you very much. Where are you going? Because you're not taking here, because that's defended by my knight. And if you want to defend c7, well, you have to stay on this diagonal. And if we have a little look at who controls literally all the squares on that diagonal, it's me, baby. So I think f4 here is just tactically winning straight away. No way. So bishop takes, b takes, queen e5 is punished by f4. Now, we can of course take on c7, although there might be complications here, but then there's just bishop d2, we hit the queen, defend the rook. So presumably, bang. Give me that. We win back the pawn. The king comes to d8, now absolutely isolated in the center. I would have considered at least king f8. I don't think my opponent really did. I think they kind of just, let's attack the knight. But now, let me have that. Thank you very much. Give me your rook. Now, admittedly, we probably aren't going to salvage this knight. The queen does take the pawn with check. We do, of course, have to play bishop d2, but I don't hate that move at all. I mean, this was an isolated double pawn. It wasn't exactly the most valuable commodity, let's say. Okay, my knight is not escaping at least anytime immediately soon. However, they at least have to put in some effort into getting it, and I maybe will get a desperado sacrifice on the way out. So they go queen here to prevent me castling pleasantly, or just at all, I guess, which is extremely annoying. But presumably I am completely winning here. However, given that I can't get my king out of the center, I'd love to be able to castle here. So can we intercept the diagonal? No, not immediately. Can we set up the interception of this diagonal? Queen c1, we probably can. Okay, you know what? Queen c1, bit of a freaky looking move, but I very simply want to play bishop e3 and kingside castles. Now, if you do go for b6 and then bishop b7, I at least will be able to sacrifice the knight for the pawn, and then I believe just be... How much material will I be up? I don't have the brain power to think about that. They developed the knight though. Bishop e3 now. I guess you have a check. We might actually play king f2. Oh, you have a check there. Ooh. I mean, of course we don't want to draw by repetition with bishop d2, bishop e3. I could block with the queen, but I think I still have the right to castle. If we keep the queens on the board, their king is kind of weak. because it's just in the center. Behind this isolated pawn, there's no c pawn, there's no e pawn. So I mean, If I don't want to block, I could just play c3 though, to block without trading anything off, and then just castle. And c3 also closes down this knight a bit. But then c3, maybe they hop in with the knight here. Or even with the knight here. I don't know if I love c3. Maybe c3, they go knight here, we just castle, and we just don't care about losing the pawn. Right, c3 it is. I want to be able to castle, I don't want to trade anything off. And if I go bishop d2, then it's just a repetition with queen to c5. But rook here, of course, I mean, yeah, it's scary. Yeah, it's a good place for a rook. But while I can castle, I'm absolutely going to. Or am I? Because then, like, knight here, and my bishop's attacked. And if I move it, am I just losing this bishop? Kingside castles, knight here. I guess if castles and then knight here, I could play rook f3. And do you know what? I'm going to. Because why not? We've got a bishop pair. My king is now safe, which is a very fundamental difference, wow, between mine and my opponent's position, is that their king will not be safe for basically the remainder of the game, I can almost guarantee. Now, knight going here is kind of crazy. Do you want to just take this? Probably. Should I play bishop f3? Because if knight takes, I'm happy. Then I don't have to address anything. But if the queen takes, I might be in a bit of a sticky situation if I don't trade queens. Also, I am just up material. Right, bishop f3. I'm going to take my bishop off of a v2 as a very soft square for it to be on. They do play knight takes. Right, I'm happy about that because now I don't have to address the queen trade. I'm completely happy to be down another pawn. I don't want my pawns. Who wants pawns in a position like this? You want open files. Now, I do have 2 minutes and 36 seconds on the clock. Perhaps not the most ideal situation to be in. Do I play... Okay, I think I also need to remove the bishop from the line of sight of the rook, I think. It'd be nice to go here, and push this, and then retrieve the knight. That would be nice. Right, you know what, boys? Bishop f2. We've got the bishops absolutely staring over here. So, this is a really weird exchange to be down for my opponent. I mean, 2 pawns and a knight for a rook and a bishop. However, my knight's trapped, at least for now. But if you want to actually claim that trapped knight, you've got to go here and here. And if you don't, hurry up and do that, and I'll at least be able to get a little desperado pawn for it. Basically, I know I'm going to lose my knight anyway, so I might as well get a pawn on the way out. They move their knight. I think I might not have played this perfectly, but I don't think my opponent's really punished me. However, the knight does cover this square. Interesting. Rook b1. Hang another pawn, but not really. I'm going to play rook b1. I'm going to play rook b1. I'm going to play rook d1. I'm just going to have all these pieces looking like this. And if you now ever play b6, rook d1 is going to come with the threat of taking on c6 here. Although then maybe bishop b7 addresses that. Maybe I should have gone rook d1 first to mean that b6 is not a possibility, because then I just take here. Oh no, wait, because if b6 now, rook d1, bishop here, bishop takes. And if bishop takes, queen takes, and it's just pinned, making use of the fact that this king's on d8. Okay, wow, that's nice, interesting. You've got to assume rook d1's a good move. Right, look at how aesthetic this position is. No way. There's no possible way that I'm not winning this. Somehow, somewhere, in some universe. I comes here, okay. Thinking about this and putting pressure on here, maybe? I think I should use my queen, to be completely honest. Oh! Oh! I think that just wins a piece cleanly. So they pick up another pawn. Do we take the knight? Presumably, yes. I think I'm just going to grab this, because I'm really running out of time here. I mean, I have exactly the pawns that I want to have. The ones in front of my king. The ones that I don't have, that's all open files, baby. That's all open files. And still, there's no sign of you ever recapturing this knight. And now my knight can get out. Oh, we also have this. Hitting the queen. Threatening rook here. Oh, there's just so many winning moves here, boys. But I think bishop d5 is a convincing one of them. So the queen moves. Now I do have check. I also have maybe check. No, but then there's d6. I was thinking like rook e1. Okay, so we take here, probably. The king goes back. There's no way this is real. This just can't be a real game. What if... Okay, and hear me out. I sack a rook to infiltrate like this. That feels dumb. Oh, I have no time. Don't blunder this. I maybe should have got the knight out while I still could. Come on, just move. Is queen there a good move? I have very little idea. But it's hard to believe that it's not. Just get in on these dark squares. However I do it. I'm threatening something so disgusting, boys. I'm threatening something so unbelievably disgusting. It hurts. If you're watching right now and you see what I'm threatening, boys, you've got 10 seconds. Put it down in the comments. What's the move? check. Oh no, my queen. And then bishop b6 is checkmate. I'll see you in the analysis. Here we are in the analysis, boys. 93% accurate. Look at that graph. From a slight advantage to a heavy advantage, maybe a bit of a mess around here, but I mean, if it goes from +4 to +2.4, it's not ideal, but I'm still completely winning. And then just conversion, a smooth conversion, in fact, after castles. One mistake, which apparently was queen c1, I guess we'll look at that. One inaccuracy, which I'll wear as a badge of pride, and a disgusting checkmate. Let's go through the game. So e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, and d4 is the Scotch game, as you can see here. All the masters are taking. There are 20,000 games in this position. Takes, queen h4. Now, queen h4 at master level is only played 2% of the time in 266 games. However, who's it been played by? Has it been played by anyone notable? Some very strong players, but not a Magnus Carlsen or a Fabiano Caruana. However, the most popular move, in fact, I'm just going to keep this, because you need to be able to see over my face cam. I'll keep this up here for a minute. The most popular move is knight c3, bishop b4 then, and then, yeah, bishop e2 here is the move that I learned with a 68% win rate in 84 games with 14% draws, only 18% of losses at master level with bishop e2. So very good that I remembered that. And after takes, knight b5 is the move played in 100% of the games in this position. Perfect. Takes, remembering that b takes instead of knight takes is the better move, is awesome, because then the only move in every single one of these games, 47 games played, king d8 was the move. In every single one of the games at master level in this position, pawn takes forces black to play king d8, which makes a lot of sense as to why going for this pawn structure gives enough compensation because, okay, the king's on d8, and then white can simply castle, we can get some interesting development going on, maybe bishop e3, who really knows, and also knight e4, and if ever knight takes, we could reclaim the good pawn structure. But of course they did not play king d8, they played queen e5. Blunder, and we can close the master's database because no master has played this move. f4 then, punishing. Here takes, king here takes, beautiful. They take bishop d2, standard. Now, queen c1 was a mistake here, which makes sense, and I never really thought it was going to be the best move. I mean, it was kind of a bit of a contrived idea, purely trying to play bishop e3 so I could castle, which then gave me a nice position, so I don't hate it. What the engine prefers here is rook b1, which obviously makes a lot of sense, because then after b6, it wants you to desperado sack this knight straight away. And then presumably after pawn takes, I mean, I guess that means that they can't take back with the queen, which maybe they'd want to do to claim the beef, I don't really know. But it also means that this pawn is kind of weak. Then maybe queen c1, bishop e3, and we're looking at some serious exploitative ideas. But queen c1, I kind of don't really have much of a problem with. It's not the best move, but it's also, it serves the purpose of bishop e3, then after the check, c3 is inaccurate, okay. I mean, those were the two moves that I wasn't really sure of anyway. There were other moves that I wasn't sure of, but if I had to guess at the mistake and the inaccuracy, probably I would have picked those two moves. However, I am very glad I did play this move, because the engine wants queen d2, which just allows a queen trade. And I mean, yes, I'm going to be winning this endgame. Okay, let's say this, and we castle, and then bishop here, and a sack, and then maybe bishop e3. Like, okay, I have a bishop and a rook for two knights, fine, but is that in the spirit of the game? I don't think so. I think keep the queens on the board, to then castle, to then play bishop f3, which was somehow the best move, let's go, to then play bishop f2, which was an excellent move, to then bring the rook in, bring the other rook in, rook here, of course. I mean, it was about time. It looks like this was kind of a one-move blunder. It only went from +6 to +6.5 in them hanging a full piece. That is how good my position was here. The problem is in this position is if they play their best move, which is knight e4, I can take, and then knight b6, and we save the knight, because if pawn takes, we have bishop takes. That is mostly the idea of putting the bishop on this diagonal, and of course we then win that queen. So after knight f5, we find the move rook d5, take, here. Bishop here is just beautiful. I mean, hit the queen, threaten this, mate in 8 now. Rook takes is now mate in 6. The engine has some interesting opinions on the order of the natural numbers. They go back, of course, and queen to c5. Now, I'll admit, I did not play this knowing what I was threatening. This was the best move, by the way. Look, it goes from mate in 6 to mate in 5. The second I played it, I realized what I was threatening after they moved. Check here, checkmate. A beautiful queen sacrifice. They can't run anywhere. And the best part about this, at no point in the game did they move their D or their B pawn. Now, if you're playing black and you don't move your D or your B pawn, then you can never, it is just not possible if you do not move at least one of these pawns to ever move this bishop. So the whole game, my opponent was basically down a bishop, and eventually it created their own tomb in which they were buried here on these dark squares. We didn't even need to save the knight. The knight just sat there. It captured its rook and it said, you know what, I'll just sit here on a8 and watch what goes down. Just to give you an idea of how strong this move was, their best move was to sacrifice the queen. And I mean, presumably after I take here, then they play b6, queen d6, and then I'm just throwing checkmate here, of course. And then it's only mate in 3 because they can throw away a rook and then I believe like run here and just get mated anyway. What a disgusting move. This could be my best checkmate of the year so far. I know we're only like 11, 12 days in. It depends exactly when I post this video. But what a disgusting attacking game of chess. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching. I definitely enjoyed playing it. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, and if you're new around here, subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. We've just hit 60,000 subscribers. So thank you to each and every one of you. 60k, onto 70, onto 80, onto 90, onto 100. That is the plan. I'll give you guys a bit of an insight into the analytics here at the Will Taylor Chess channel. The subscriber growth has drastically decreased since December ended. December is just a great month to be making YouTube videos. So the kind of astronomical growth you've seen, I think we've gained about 10k subscribers in the last month. That is going to be slowing down. However, I have complete faith that we will hit 100k within 2024. I'm very excited. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you're inspired to go and play some beautiful attacking chess of your own. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.